Recording in progress. All right, welcome back to part 2 of our environment lecture today. We're going to deal with some demos now. Hopefully we can kind of clear up everything that's going on and answer some questions along the way. So let's just do a quick review again of what we're doing, to make sure we're all on the same page here. All right, so lectures processing happily, that's good. So today, you're going to be working on a daytime environment, your choice, whether you do the interior or the exterior. Whichever one you choose, for the nighttime, you need to do the opposite environment, opposite time of day. So if you do interior day, exterior night. If you do exterior day, interior night. All right, we kind of went over where the docs are for, all the instructions. Once you're done with that, you are going to have a chance to create your own composition, utilizing one of our scenes. So find some reference on the internet. You can use as many lights as you want, but you must use a dome light with an HDR image in it. HDR image is your choice. You can use one of the ones we provide or go find one on your own. Create a new camera, or you can alter one of our cameras. You get better practice if you make your own, but that's up to you. Try to match the focal length. Try to match the framing of your reference. Match the light quality. If it's warm light, you're going to use warm colors, warm color temperature. If it's cooler, nighttime, or maybe it's, a cinematic effect where, they got a lot of blue light going on. Okay, that's going to be warm. It's going to be very cool. So the color temperature is going to be a little bit higher. So down at the bottom for the downloads, we have a separate template for the My Comp templates. The exterior scene is going to be a different aspect ratio than the interior. The interior is going to be our standard HD, kind of half HD format, wider than higher. The exterior is going to be a slightly different format. It's going to be 816 by 612. Why? Well, it's basically the aspect ratio that when I took those Zen garden pictures, that's what my camera gave me, my phone. So it's good to change up the aspect ratio once in a while. So you're going to be doing a long shot and a close-up of each scene. So we've got delivery instructions. In the end, you're going to give us 3 Maya scene files and 3 templates. All right, take a look at the download information that you get from us. We did kind of look at it a little bit. All right, so the interior, you get your Maya scene file. And well, actually your Maya project folder. And this is where you're going to take the HDR images that you have to go download. You're going to put them in source images, which if you remember in the first part of lecture, I downloaded the daytime and the nighttime already. So let me go grab those. So parking lot, that's the daytime. Here's the night one. So depending on which one I demo, I got both of my HDR images in there now. Daytime, nighttime. Looks a little bulgy, but that will look good when it is placed into the dome light. All right, so templates, whether you do day or night, there's basically 2 different layers inside Photoshop. One is the daytime template, the other is the nighttime. All right, so choose one. If you're not doing the daytime, turn that reference off, use the nighttime. All right, as far as reference images go, I give you two, I like to call them positional guides. So you can see exactly where everything is. So here's your dome light. There's actually two dome lights here, since this is the interior day. They're just going to be in basic, you're not going to reposition the dome lights other than rotating them. All right, but you can see where the portals are. We've got two windows that are visible to the camera. We've got a door window, which is to the right of the camera, and a kitchen window, which is behind the camera. So we want to make sure we put portals in all of those, and this way it will cut down on the noise when we go to render. Because basically a big giant dome light is going to create a lot of noise because the area of the dome light's much bigger than 4 small portals. So it's a lot more efficient. That's why a lot of rendering systems use portal lights to focus all the energy of a big giant environment dome down to smaller chunks that are just needed. And here's the directional light. So it's kind of a overhead shot, so you can get an idea of how that directional light's rotated, and just basic diagram of where all the lights are. Now you have the individual reference images that you can load into Arnold. So here is your non-visible dome light with the portals. Here is your visible dome light added in. This is your second dome light. This is for rotation, and it's kind of hard to see, but you can at least get it in the right area. This is the intensity, and you can see it does add a little bit of extra light. Remember, lighting's additive. So our first dome light will add with the second dome light to give us a little more illumination. Right, once we finalize the rotation, get the brightness of that visible dome so it looks good outside the window, then we add in the sun. And then here's your final close-up of the table, the computer desk. If your lighting in the long shot looks good, this is automatic. All right, so if you're doing the nighttime, got positional guides here. Notice, of course, there's only a single dome light with portals. We don't need a lot of energy. It's nighttime. We're not using the dome light as energy, really. We're only using it as visibility. So most of our lighting is going to come from the mesh lights. So the portal, these kind of diagrams are good for just portal position, so you get an idea. But here is the breakdowns in EXR, so you can load those right into Arnold. This is the dome light rotated. This is the intensity of the dome light adjusted. And then these are the recessed ceiling lights. So there's, forget how many there are, but you're going to select them, combine them, and assign a single mesh to them. That way you have like 18 recessed ceiling lights being controlled by one mesh light. Makes life so much easier. Then we do the lamp, the TV, the desk, and the computer. And if all is done well, and you don't have to worry about direction with these because they are already in place. You just have to worry about intensity and light. Color temperature. And then the close-up should look automatic. Okay, now let's go to the Zen Garden. So here's the Zen Garden project folder. We give you the HDR image. This is it. There I am hiding behind the garbage can. We actually did have a camera that we borrowed. In fact, my buddy Joe Brandibus had that camera, and we kind of threw it out there, took a picture of it. There's the actual Zen garden all the way over here. But you get an idea. We wanted to keep the same environment without having the Zen garden show up in our scene. We wanted to create what we saw in the Zen garden without actually having a geometry, because we wanted all our geometry to do all the reflecting, and we didn't want the image to get in the way of what we're doing. So it's the same type of location. We have actually the same view into that little retention pond. All right, so we give you that image. 2 different scene files because daytime does not have candles in the close-up shot. The nighttime does. Templates, same deal. You have a daytime. If you're not doing daytime, you're doing night. There is your night reference. All right, as far as I showed you guys the photo reference already, feel free to use this. You can even utilize this for project 6 if you decide you want to do the Zen garden like we actually have it here at Full Sail. And also you can feel free, if you are on campus, go take a picture yourself. You make your own reference back there. So all these little different shots, you get an idea of what's wood, what's metal, what's concrete. There's a little bit of block and brick there. Picture of what the lights look like behind the camera. And this is a panoramic of what it's like at night in Full Sail. All the different lights that are on all over the place. All right, so reference. Got some positional guides here for you. The daytime, really simple. Dome light, sun. Just like it is in the real world. Got a lot of energy. We don't have any closed areas that we have to worry about bounce light getting into. Everything is direct light with a little bit of indirect light thrown around. Right? Just a couple different perspectives so you get an idea of where things are. You can see the dome light looks a little wonky only because you have to rotate it in X, Y, and Z to kind of match the reference image. All right. So here is your initial dome light with all the rotations done. Then we kick up the intensity. Then we add the sun with color temperature changed. And then close up. Got to turn on that still life or the table setting. It's on a separate layer. Off you go. All right, for the nighttime, again, positional guides give you an idea. There's that big overhead light. There's another Arnold area light behind the camera. And then these 2 little point lights act like those little tree lights on the left and right side of the Zen garden trellis area. Little overhead shot, you get an idea of where everything is. All right, so again, we start with the dome light rotation. Adjust the intensity so it's barely visible here. In fact, if you're streaming it and you're looking at it on the screen, you're probably going, hey, it's all dark. There's a little bit of light. Can see the environment. There's the overhead main backlight. There's the lower backlight, left fill, right fill light, and then the close-up, turn the table setting on. Again, different geometry than the daytime because it has lights or it has candles in it. These are LED candles. You select the geometry for the flame, combine them together, and assign one Arnold mesh light to all of them. Adjust the color temperature, and you're good to go. All right, so let's see. I'm going to try and at least get a couple in for demo here. So which one would you like to see for the daytime? You want to see the interior or the exterior day? So one exterior, interior, interior, interior. Okay, we got two interiors here. What say you, Zoom world? Anybody? Anybody want to chime in? Okay, interior, exterior, this is day. So we got lots of interiors. Okay, so we're going to go with interior. No worries. All right, so for this, let's get the right set of directions. So first thing I want to do, download the assignment, expand it, open Maya, set your project. All right, so let me grab this. So here's the interior. There's my Maya project folder. I've already gone ahead in the first part of lecture and downloaded the parking lot, which is the daytime HDR image when I showed you guys. So let me fire up Maya, set my project, and we'll get started. Okay, have to wait for RenderMan to load, then Arnold. Now, if you guys have questions, make sure you can unmute yourself, hit the space bar, type it in chat. If you're here on campus, you raise your hand, holler it out in case I don't see you. All right, let's move that over. Arnold's loaded. Good to go. Set project. Always set project. All right, interior. There's my Maya project folder. Let's open up the day night. Same file. Doesn't matter. So you may get an error reading message, or you may get a message that pops up. You can just ignore it. If you get a pop-up message, just click OK. All right. So let's get the instructions here. All right, so open the scene. Let's save as. Why? So we don't corrupt the original file. Daytime 2021_04. Good enough. Okay, now what? All right, now we're going to assign a new AI standard surface to everything. All right, so the way I like to do it is I can marquee select everything here, but I'll select cameras, which won't hurt anything, but why select stuff you don't want? I like to go into the outliner. I can select most of the geometry. And then we have a couple of extra groups here, like some bottles and, of course, the arm lamp. So I like to select them. And if you're on a Mac and you want to select things that are not continuous in list order, don't forget you can hold the Command key down and click, and it'll let you select things that are not in order. So for example, if I select the apartment, hold Shift, and do the arm lamp, it selects everything in my list. I don't want that. So if I select the group, do Command, and I can just select what I want. If you're on a PC, it is Control. So I've got that selected. Let's assign an AI standard surface. So Shift T, shader, AI standard. There we go. All right, so we're going to set base weight at 1, the color value at 0.18. So base weight 0.18. And turn off specular. Pretty much what we've been doing all along so far. So we're all set. I always like to check and see what my renderer is. Aha, it is Spawn of Satan. There we go. Let's change that to Arnold. All right, good. Now I'm going to save because I've updated a bunch of stuff. May take a second to save it. There we go. So everybody's got the AI standard on there. If I click on any one object, it's all set to go. All right, so there are two different cameras here. So we got the desk, which is the close-up, and we've also got the long shot, which is the living room. These cameras are not locked. So if you accidentally move, go to the bookmark that I've got set up in each camera. This will get you right back to the actual camera view you want. Now, if you want to lock the camera, go ahead. You guys should know how to lock attributes. You can just go into the channel box, make sure you select the camera, go into the channel box and just select all the attributes and lock them. You know, something to be said for doing either. Some places you work, they don't care. Others, they lock the cameras for you. So you need to be able to be flexible and kind of figure out what's going on. So we're going to light initially in the long shot. That's where all the reference is because we get to see outside the window. Close up does you no good if you're trying to rotate the dome light. You can't see outside the window. So we're going to use two dome lights. One we'll use for portals and control the brightness of the environment. The second one is used just for the image to control the brightness of the image. I've already gone ahead and downloaded that. That's already in my source images folder. So let's create a dome light and rename it with the standard name, non-visible. So this is the icon for the dome light. Hit create. I can go into perspective and go take a look at it. And you can see it's big and gigantic. So if I hit 5 on the keyboard or even 6. Now, I'm pretty sure that I have color management on, but it's always good to check. So color management in your Maya prefs, go to color management. It should be turned on already. It is. Life is good. Okay, so going back inside here, living room, got my dome light in. All set to go. Let's rename it. Non-visible. Now, if I don't do anything, this will give me a pure bright white color outside the window. And you can see it gives me a little bit of light in the environment, but not much. That 1 unit of intensity is really low. So what I want to do here, it's a non-visible dome light. So we want to go to the visibility section and turn the camera down to 0 because we don't want this white dome light to cover up our image when we put in the second dome light. So in our dome light attributes, go to visibility, camera, turn it off. And now we've just got nothing outside the window, but we have light coming in. So let's load in our first reference. But before we do that, we should go ahead and make the portal lights. Now, the reason we're going to make portals is, let me turn up the visibility or the intensity a little bit more. So let me go like, I don't know, 10. Let's see how that looks. All right, so I turned it up to 10 just so I can get an idea of what's going on without portal lights. So you can see there's a super ton of noise here. The reason we want to use portals is because we can take all that dome light and focus it into smaller areas. All right, so we want to make sure that we select the dome light and then create 4 portal lights inside the dome light. So I like to make my portal lights outside of the environment here because I've got to have one on each window here, here, and here. These 2, the door, the kitchen window. So dome light selected, click the portal light icon, which is right next to the dome light. That creates a portal light, drops it in center of the world, just like anything you create by default in Maya, right? Drops it in at 0, 0. So let's translate this outside. Why outside? Well, we want the portals outside aimed in. Remember this, since I have done this now, I have taken all the dome light energy and focused it into a single portal light. Now, the portal lights look just like Arnold area lights. Difference is it's got the name AI Light Portal. You can see it's got a little pointer in the center that tells you which direction it is broadcasting the light. So now, if I do another quick render here in my room, I'm only going to have a little bit of light showing through that one window, because now I've taken all the portal energy and focused it into a tiny single little portal light. So that dome light is basically not giving us as much energy. So we want to scale this portal light up so it fits the window, it covers the window. And it can cover it a little bit wider and taller on all sides. So, I don't want to do that. Let's scale that. All right, the only thing you want to make sure is you can have the little pointer going into the geometry, but you don't want the actual window to intersect the geometry, or else it will basically cut that geometry off because it's a light and it's just going to chop off anything that it touches. So now if I render this out, I should be able to see the entire window. There you go. So now I need to make 3 more of them. And look, this has much less noise than the other one did. Even though I stopped the render pretty quickly, there's a lot less noise than there was with just, well, there is noise, but it's a finer grain noise than it was with the one big dome light. All right, so to create more portals, select the dome, create another portal. One thing you do not want to do is duplicate lights. Maya does not like lights duplicated. And a lot of times, if you duplicate lights, they have hidden connections, which you cannot delete by deleting construction history. So you actually have to just create another light, move it into position, scale it. All right, so now I should have light coming in through both windows, which I do. All right, so again, 2 more. Let's select the dome, create a new portal. This one's going where the door window is, right here. I'm going to have to rotate this light. because right now it's facing in the wrong direction. So let's rotate it. It's got to go that way. Which direction is that? Negative. So let's go negative 90. And scale. I only want to make it as big as the area of the opening. Okay. So now I should have a little bit of light coming in from the right. It's going to be pretty hard to see, but every little bit helps. All right, one more. Select the dome, create a new portal. This one goes in the back. There's a kitchen window back here. And it is aimed backwards, so that's a 180 rotation. Let's scale it up. All right. So now if I render this, I should have a little bit of light coming in, hitting the back of that sofa. There we go. And like I said, every little bit helps. So now we've got 4 portal lights that have all the energy of that big 360-degree dome, and it has less noise, which is the goal. We want to take and work with as high quality as we can, and it makes the light much more efficient. So now at this point, I want to bring my reference in. Well, first I want to save. Why? Because it's Maya. Maya hates me, just like Maya hates you. Let's load the reference in. 5, interior, daytime. There we go, non-visible dome. Okay, well, we got a little more energy to throw in there. So remember all of the changes. If you take a look in the portal light attributes, there really are no adjustments in each portal. The portals are being driven by the dome. So you want more intensity, you got to give it into the dome light and then render. So I'm looking at the intensity on the chair, on the table, looking at it on the floor. Looks like I need more energy. Needs to be brighter. Twice as bright? I don't know. Let's make it a little bit more. Now, once you're at the point where you think you're pretty close, don't forget that you can use the crop tool and turn up the quality, add more samples, so you can get a better idea of, because sometimes it's really hard to tell with all the noise. So like at this point, I'll probably stop this. Let's crop this. Let's go into quality here. Let's do a 4 and 8. Even 4 and 4 probably give me better quality without waiting. Yeah, I'm lazy and I don't want to wait all that long. And this is just preview. It's not a final render. All right, not too bad. Let's turn that off. Now, let's go over here. Let's do that small area. All right, it's not bad. It's pretty close. Now, just to save time, I'm not going to render the entire thing. I want to try and cut time down so we can get more demo in. But you guys get the idea. Small areas looks pretty close right now. I may have to go back and tweak it later, but I can do that. It's just like all the other lighting exercises work in passes. All right, so that's not too bad. Let's save that. That's my initial set of portal lights. Well, they are the only set of portal lights, but that's my initial dome light. All right, so now we're going to create another dome light. We're going to rename this one AI Sky Dome Light _ HDR, and this will have our parking lot image in it. So let's do that. How do you do that? Well, pretty simple. Create another dome light simply by clicking on it. Let's rename it HDR. Where does the HDR get plugged into? HDR gets plugged into the color attribute of the dome light. So here, Sky Dome Light Attributes Color. Click on that little input button. Brings up Create Render Node. 2D texture, select File, because we're bringing a file in from outside of Maya. In the File node here, you want to click on that little folder icon, and you want to navigate to your source images folder, which, since I have my project set, Maya has it set up for me. So there is my parking lot. Click OK. After a couple seconds, it'll show up. It's showing up in my viewport. And let me turn down my quality just to get a quicker render. And let's render it out and see what we get. Now, it may take a couple of seconds for the image to convert, because what it's doing is Arnold has converted the image to a TX file, which kind of pre-calculates it. So when you render, you don't have to wait for it to build the dome light image every time it renders. All right, so there we are. I need to rotate it. How do I know? Well, from experience, and also the fact that the instructions told me I'm probably going to have to rotate that dome light. Let's bring in the reference image. So here's the dome light rotation. All right. Now, a couple of ways you can rotate it. You can come out here, select the dome light, select the rotation tool, which is E, the shortcut, and you can kind of rotate it around. Trouble is, I don't want to have it render while I'm doing that. Let me see if I can actually see anything inside here. Oh, there we go. All right, so I know I got a tree here somewhere. Got a tree there, a little bit of tree here. Let's see how that goes. Well, not bad. I mean, I got the building in the right place, but the tree needs to come over a little bit more. So at this point, what I'll do is go into the channel box, and it's -15. Let me go just negative 15 and see what that does. Does that go in the right direction? Looks like I need to rotate it more. Let's try 14. Ooh, that is going in the right direction. I can see the windows. I got to kind of nudge it. Let's try 13. No, it looks like I'm off ever so slightly there. 13.1. Hard to tell. Looks pretty close. Really hard to tell. What I think I'll do is stop this right now. Let me load in the next reference image, right, which is the intensity. So once I turn the intensity up, I'll be able to see the image better and I can fine tune that rotation. All right, so I know I need more energy there. Let's load in that new reference. All right, so attribute editor. Let's see what we get if we double this. Nope. Let's try 4. No, we're going in the right direction. Does it look twice as bright? Ah, now I can see my building inside the window shift ever so slightly left and right. Let me see if I can tweak that. I think I want to go this way. Ah, much better. Not moving now. All right, good, good, good. Intensity, not quite. Is it twice as bright? I don't know. Let's see. That looks pretty close. All right, now at this point, let me crank up my intensity a little bit more. No, let's go 4 and 8. I'm looking for this little bit of sun pattern on the ground. So may have overdone it with the intensity, or I should say the quality. Let me lower it again, because I don't want to wait a whole lot of time. We'll be out of time to do other stuff. There we go. That's a little better. Better quality anyway. All right, so that looks pretty close. Can see my light pattern in there. Not nearly bright enough, but not bad. Let's do a quick one over on the left side there. Okay, I think we're pretty good shape. All right. So what's left? Now we need to add a directional light and kind of match it here. Oh yeah, and don't forget, we're going to increase the angle to 0.5, which will give us slightly soft shadows on a directional light. Because by default, the angle is set for 0, like noon. Think of that as noontime, straight down, like dead center shadows, virtually razor sharp. So a little bit of an angle gives a natural little fuzziness to the directional light shadows. All right, so let's go back here. And of course, when we create anything default in Maya, it's going to drop in at the center of the world. Let's go create lights, directional light. Let's grab that. Well, let's throw that outside here. Right there. Now, I want those arrows pointed towards my double windows here, which, yep, looks like they are. Good. All right, so I want to pull that up just a little bit. And let me see my positional guides. That might help me with the rotation, just a very basic rotation. All right, so, well, that's good. All right, so I want to aim it that direction. So let's give it a little rotation that way. And let's see, what does it look like here? What if I can scale this up so it's bigger? There we go, I can. I'm only scaling the icon so it's easier to work with, because scaling the directional light does absolutely nothing. Just the icon's easier to work with because the scale of the scene's a little bit bigger. All right, so I got it rotated about, no, can't really see. Oops. No, I'm going to think it's aimed down a little bit. It's got to be at least a little bit. Let's load our reference in and see what we get. Open image. There we go. That's the sun. All right. Let's see what we get with the default intensity. And let's do this right here, this area. Because I got a nice shadow pattern and a nice light pattern that I can use to see my rotation. All right, let's render that. Am I seeing anything? I want quick feedback, so I'm going to turn my settings down again. Well. There we go. I got some sun coming in. I can see it's on the side of the chair. Looks like it needs to come down a little more. Let me make this a little brighter. Perfect. All right, so now there's the light, my shadow right there. It needs to be all the way over here, which means my light needs to be angled up more, needs to be raised more, because my light is all the way back here. So let's bring that down. There we go. That moved it. Looks like I need to move it some more. Too much, of course. All right, let's hold my breath and just like that. All right, looks okay, but now side to side. Looks like I need to rotate mine back a little bit, which means I want to aim it that way to the left. All right, so I'm pretty close. Now my shadows, oh, and I forgot to adjust my shadows. So I go under Arnold. I forgot to do my angle at 0.5, which should soften my shadows up. Ah, much better. There we go. So you can really see the difference if you forget to turn your angle. So that's at the default of 0. Put the angle at 0.5. Got a little bit of softness on those shadows now. And it looks like I just need to play with the rotation a little bit more. And probably adjust the intensity. Although, let's give the whole thing a render real quick. Be able to tell also by the shadows on the left side here, on the other side of the sofa. Yeah, I need to play with them a little bit, but positionally, the light's close. All right, so like I said, I would go back, fine tune everything, but you get the basic idea of what we're doing with this. Any questions? How about out there in the Zoomosphere? Anybody have any questions so far? So this is the basic framework. Of course, I would want to go back and adjust the lights a little bit more, but I'll run out of time. So let's just see how everybody's doing out there. Questions? Shardasia, Nathaniel, Marie, Kentavious, Frenzy, Darian, Clifton, Brian, any questions? Clifton's good, Frenzy's good. Marie, no questions. Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's plug on. So at this point, let's see what my close-up reference looks like. It should be super close to what I have here. So let's change cameras. All right, so looks like I need to work on that sun just a little bit, getting a little bit of a weird shadow there. But I have a feeling once I adjust the sun a little bit more for the ground, that should take care of this. But the rest of the lighting is pretty close. Like I said, go back, tweak the dome lights, make sure the intensity is good. Now, if you want to go and you want to tweak each light again individually, you can always hide your lights. Just select it, hide the directional light. That'll be like shutting it off. Control H. Now, if I render this again, let's render it from the living room. No. Living room. There. All right, so it turned off the directional light for me. So if I'm going to do the same thing to the HDR, I should be able to hide it. Let's try Control H on that. There we go. So you can go back, hide your stuff, go back, tweak your lights one at a time, just like you were building them, get the intensity, and then for that directional light, just work on getting that rotation. All right, so that is the workflow for the interior day. So since we did the interior day, let's take a crack at the exterior night. This way we can show at least opposite environment, opposite time of day. Now, if you choose to do the exterior day, you know what? The dome light that I'm going to do for the exterior night is the same dome light for the day. It's the same position. The difference is daytime, you have dome light, sun, you're done. For nighttime, we got a little bit more work. We've got those Arnold area lights that we need for the upper, the lower, and the 2 point lights on either side. So let's do Zen Garden Night. Nice thing is we provide the HDR image for the Zen Garden for you in source images. So you don't have to do anything for that, except set your project to the Zen Garden. And let's open up the nighttime version, because the nighttime has candles on the table setting. Now, if you get an error message popping up, don't worry about it. There we go. Now, by default, the table setting is hidden. So you guys know about display layers, right? We talked about this when we were doing project 3, right? So channel box layer editor, there's the table setting. If you click on it, it will turn on the table setting right here. It's off for the long shot by default. This is on for your close-up. Now, so let's do a save as. Why? You don't want to corrupt the original file. It's just good practice. You never want to go back to your client or your boss and go, the scene file you gave me got corrupted and I don't have a copy of it. So you're going to get a lot of frowny face and raised eyebrows, just like, why didn't you save it before you worked on the original? All right, so always save as. Now I got a copy of it. Now Maya can go ahead and chew it up and eat it and do whatever it wants to do with it. I got another copy. And of course, can always re-download it again. Sometimes you don't have that luxury when you're working for a client, to call them up or send them an email or do a Zoom session with them and say, yeah, the file you sent me, well, it got corrupted. What? Better to deal with copies. Okay, so we got this. We did save as, which I believe worked. Come here. Yep. Good news. So let's select everything. Like I said, I like to go into the outliner. We've also got a bunch of extra geometry. Driveway, there's a curb back there, and the table setting, which is here. So I'm just going to select all the geometry. Shift T, create new material, Arnold, shader, AI standard. There we go. I'm going to select any piece of geometry. It doesn't really matter. And let's keep the base weight at 1, base color value 0.18, specular off. Base weight, color value 0.18. Turn off the specular weight. Good to go. So let me select a couple pieces just to make sure nothing got weird on me. Yep, all looks good. All right, so here for this scene, the Zen garden, this goes for daytime and nighttime. We have one render cam, and the shots are broken up into bookmarks. So slightly different workflow than the other one. One render cam, but if you want to get to the close-up, you do that. Now, camera is not locked either. So if you move stuff around, just go to the bookmark and get back to it. There's my long shot. I don't need the table setting on for this right now. Let's save. Why? Because it's Maya. All right, so we are going to create a dome light. We're going to plug in the HDR image we provide, and we're going to rotate it in X, Y, and Z. I always like to rotate it in X first, and then try to do a little Y, then a little Z, and I'll kind of show you how I approach it. Because it's a little awkward, just because of the angle we took with our camera, and then the angle that I had when I took the original reference image in the actual Zen garden. So the HDR is a little bit off, but we rotate is good. Okay, dome light created. If you want to, I'm going to rename this just so I know it's got an HDR in it. If I pass this off to anybody, single dome light, no portals, life is good. Hey. All right, just like with the interior, you plug an HDR image into the dome light attributes in the color. Click the little checker input button, create render node, 2D texture file. You want to go to the source images folder. So Maya, fortunately, knows I have my project set. So it took me into source images. There it is. Bang. Now, you can do a little of this rotation in the viewport. It's not going to be perfect, but you can at least get it close and then go in and render it and then do your final tweaking in the rendered Arnold render view. All right, so where am I? Right here. All right, so I got this little piece here. This kind of looks like Mexico to me, and that looks like Florida, and it just is a very unique little piece. And where are you? Ah, there you are, right there. Okay. So looks like I need to rotate X first. All right, let's try this. Select the dome light. Let's get the reference here. Now I can also bring the reference up side by side since I'm trying to work in the viewport. It might not be the best. You know what? Forget it. Let's just do it in Arnold. Let's delete that. Let's load in our first reference. Zen garden, nighttime. There we go. And let's do, let's make sure Maya, is not our renderer. Arnold. Save. So right now it's converting the image and it should display it now. There we go. So it's pretty quick. Ooh, yeah, got a bunch of rotation to do. All right, so Let's rotate. I'm going to go this way first. Yeah, let's go this way. Whoops, too much. Ah, there's my little area here. It's here. It needs to be all the way over here. All right, so what have I got here? Wow. Okay. I'm getting seasick. All right, let's try rotating it in Y a little bit. I like to do one axis at a time, because you do multiple things, you screw yourself up. So I know this has got to go over more this way. Whoa, that's actually not bad. It's sort of in the rightest position. Now, I guess I want to do, let me see, what did I do first? I think I did Z first, I think. So I got a little bit there going on. Okay. All right, let's 3. Let me go. What happens if I go to 4? Okay, 4, not bad. What if I go to 18? What is, or yeah, 18. What does that do? That taking me back? How about 17? Is that too much? About 17 and a half. Ooh, close. Ooh, I'm really close. What do I got? No, I don't want you. I want dome light. There we go. Hmm. Oh, looks like I'm only down to Y now. All right. Okay, looks pretty close. Okay, I'm going to stop there and save. Why? Because I've sneezed at times and accidentally moved my light, and it's very frustrating. So, all right, so position. Okay, well, looks all right. Let's load in the next reference, which will be for the intensity. All right, so I can see a little bit of sky here. So that tells me we need to lower our intensity. All right, so cut it in half. Nope. cut it in half again. Let's go here. Nope. About 0.1. Nope. 0.05. All right, looks pretty close. I don't know if you can see that on the board. Little tiny bit of light up there, but that should work. All right, so we got the dome light in, we got it rotated, we got the intensity kind of roughed in there. Let's load our next reference in, which is going to be the upper area light. Now for this, I'm definitely going to use some help. So we need an Arnold area light for the upper back building light. All right, let me go here. And let's get my positional guides here. All right, kind of give me an idea. So that's above and off to the left and the side. So where's that going? Pointing right about here. Okay, let's try that. So Arnold area light, first of all. Let's go into perspective. Arnold area light. And let's rotate it a little. It's going to go this way. No. And oh yeah, looks like it's got to be a little higher here. Yeah, let's raise it up. And let's see what we get. All right, so by default, if I remember correctly, Arnold area lights really need some energy. There we go. Wow. All right. All right, looks like my light is a little high. No, a little low. My shadows are definitely off. So is my intensity. All right. Whoa. All right. Needs more. Feed the Arnold. Woo. Okay. Still looks like I need more. Looking at how bright it is on the chairs there. Okay, that's pretty close. So, there's the ticket. It was a little on. No, it looks like the height's about right, but now I got to figure out, do I want to go left or right? Hmm. Actually looking worse. Let's Z back. That went worse. Let's go back. All right, that's pretty close. I'd still probably play around with it a little bit, but you get the idea, right? So I'm going to work in passes just like I do all my other lighting. Get to a certain point, call it, continue on to the next light. Then if I want to go back, I just hide the lights that I'm not working on and get that fixed. All right, so let's do the lower light. All right, so create another Arnold area light. Let's pull it over here. All right, so that is pretty much right back behind the camera. All right, looks like it's up a little higher, right about here, maybe. And let's render out, see what we get. Looks like I need some more intensity. Oh, that's a little bright. All right, shadows are a little off. I can work on them later. What I want to do is show you guys how to do the mesh lights, right? Because the other two lights off to the side on either side, they shouldn't be too bad for you. So let's take a look at the mesh. To do that, I need to turn on my visibility for my table settings. Let's switch cameras. Let's go to the render cam. And let's go to the close-up. Let's load our reference in. Hey, what am I doing? Get out of there. No, go away. There we go. So I'm going to pretend I have my other lights in. And let's render. All right, so sometimes you need to re-render a couple times. All right. Being finicky. Sure, go ahead. Let's close this. Let's render. There we go. Every once in a while, Arnold has this thing with visibility. You got to close the actual Arnold render view. All right, now, to create mesh lights, we want to select the geometry. So here's all the flame. Whoops, that's not the flame geometry. There it is. It's in the table setting. There's the flame. You can do it manually. I kind of like to do Shift and select all the flames. Now, in order to assign one Arnold mesh light to all of these, we have to combine them, which means you got to be in a modeling tool set, go to Mesh and Combine. That's all you have to do. So now, in the outliner, it's taken all that geometry and turned them into a flame here. So at this point, usually after you do a combine, you want to delete construction history, do all that other stuff. There we go. So now, this is the Arnold mesh light. So now, if I deselect that, select it again, they're all combined. I click Arnold mesh light. Now, notice what happened. It nested the Arnold mesh light inside the geometry. It basically parented it to the geometry. So there is my attributes for my light. Now, by default, they are not going to be visible to the camera. You want to turn on light visible. Because if it's not visible, you're going to have like eerie, ghosty light with no flames. So light visible, perfect. Then we need to figure out how bright they need to be. Ooh, yeah, pretty bright. Too bright. Don't want to do that. It's still pretty bright. Kind of looking at that. All right, let's go down. Looks like it could be a little brighter. Let's try that. I don't know, 25. So basically, you want to tweak it. Now, you can see the light temperature, the light color doesn't match. So this is where we utilize color temperature. So underneath the very top light attributes, there's a color temperature button. If you click on it, it will automatically give you a color temperature of 6,500, which is pretty neutral. It's like sun during the day. But you can see that's a lot warmer. So don't bother with the slider on the color temperature. Just go down in units of like 500. So go 6,000. What's that look like? No. What's that? No, I do. 6,000. There we go. Okay. 55. Let's try that. So you can see it's starting to get a little warmer. Let's go down to 5,000. Little warmer still. Not quite warm enough. Let's try 45. Hard to tell. Try 4,000. No, that looks too yellow. Yeah, it looks like I could use a little bump up in the brightness area here. But that's the basic idea for mesh lights. Now, if you've only got a single object, you can assign a mesh light directly to it. But to control multiple objects with a single mesh light, you have to select them all, combine them, and then you can select it, assign the mesh, and you're done. All right, so that's a little bit closer. All right, so that's kind of the overview for interior day, double dome light system. Exterior, using a dome light, no portals, which is, has its advantages and disadvantages. No portals. We've got practical lights, basically overhead building light, lower fill lights from the trees that are around the Zen garden. And then the table setting itself has the focus. So lots here, I know. Thanks for hanging in there. You guys have any questions? All right, how about out here in Zoom land? Anybody have any questions? Nathaniel, Marie, Cantavius, Frenzy. Frenzy's good, thank you. Brian's good, thank you, Brian. Clifton, Darian. Marie's good, thank you, Marie. All good. All right, so if you choose to do the exterior day, the concept for the dome light's still the same. If you do the interior night, you're just going to have more mesh lights to assign than with the interior is going to have more mesh lights than the exterior. So just a little more work. All right, guys, thanks for hanging in there with me. We're going to end the session so I can clear out for our next class to come in here. If you guys have any questions, please come back to lab. Ari will be there. I'll show up for the first part of lab, make sure everybody's doing okay. We can answer questions. We can troubleshoot. Let's see. Let's put that away. Let's put all our toys away here. All right, so let's come back to, let's see, we'll go to lunch at, well, by the time we get out of here, we'll call it 35. Come back to lab at 1:35. Does that sound good, Ari?
Sounds good to me.
All right, everybody. Have a good break. See you back here. Same station, same channel. See you back here at 1:35. Ari, I might be a little late because by the time I get home, eat lunch, but just send me a text. I'll jump in.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. You guys have a good day, and I will see you on Friday. Remember, no campus lectures on Friday. All right. So I will see you guys virtually on Friday. Have a good day.
See y'all in lab.